The Perfect Cure for the Common Cold by Titanium Dragon.
My, Rainbow Dash did a marvelous job with the snow, didn't she?
Rarity said as she surveyed the frozen landscape from her spot on the bridge. Every exposed surface in Ponyville was covered with gleaming coats of white snow. Icicles hung from the eaves of homes, scintillating in the sunlight that leaked in between the clouds. Fluttershy tucked her wings in closer to her sides as she shivered next to Rarity.
Yes, it's very pretty.
Rarity turned towards her friend.
Whatever is the matter, darling? Oh, nothing. It isn't nothing,
Rarity said, putting her hoof on Fluttershy's shoulder.
Clearly something is amiss. Did Rainbow Dash put a bit too much snow on your cottage? Did she not leave the stream clear of ice so that you could fish? Oh, no, it's nothing like that.
Fluttershy shook her head.
It's just that I forgot to tell my little animal friends that winter was coming early again this year.
Rarity sighed.
Did Rainbow forget to drop by your cottage to warn you?
Fluttershy hung her head.
She remembered. I was just worried after how she acted when Tank went into hibernation last year. I guess I thought she would need me to look after her again. I got so worked up worrying about how she would feel when she showed up and told me how excited she was for the storm next year. I got so excited I forgot I needed to warn the animals that winter was coming until it started snowing. Oh, was that the only thing distracting you? I don't know what you're talking about.
Fluttershy suddenly seemed to find the glistening ice hanging from the bridge to be the most fascinating thing in the world.
No, darling, I don't mean to pry, but...
Rarity stepped over to put a hoof on Fluttershy's shoulder, only to withdraw it in shock.
Why, you're practically an ice sculpture. Have you been out in the snow all day?
Fluttershy nodded.
Since last night, actually. I had to. I couldn't leave my friends out in the cold just because I forgot to warn them. Oh, you poor thing. Here, take my scarf.
Rarity's horn lit up, peeling the pink scarf from around her neck and placing it around Fluttershy's shoulders.
Is that better? A little,
Fluttershy said, smiling weakly, before another shudder ran down her body.
Tisk tisk. Well, perhaps it is time we went inside then, and got you all warmed up. Oh, it's all right. I'd hate for you to have to miss out on this because of me.
Rarity waved a hoof.
Nonsense. I'd hate for you to catch a cold. Thanks, but really, it's no problem. Besides, Rainbow Dash would be disappointed if I didn't like it.
Fluttershy fell back onto her haunches, rubbing her hoofs together to keep warm.
I'm sure she'd understand.
Rarity stepped forward, smiling encouragingly.
How about you and I get something warm to drink, and then we can talk about... Howdy, girls. What are you two doing out on the bridge?
The two ponies in the storm jerked their heads towards the sound of Applejack's voice.
Oh, hello, Applejack. And Rainbow Dash as well, I see.
Rarity beamed at her friends.
I'm afraid we were just about to go inside.
What? And miss this awesome snowstorm I put together?
Rainbow Dash sprung up onto the air, spreading her hooves wide as she gestured at the snowy landscape.
Come on, you've got to admit this is pretty cool. I mean, look at the way the icicles have bent underneath the bridge. You can't get that without just the right amount of wind.
Yes,
Rarity said, rolling her eyes.
It is very cool indeed, if you get my drift.
Rainbow Dash laughed as she flew over to prod Rarity on the chest with a cold hoof.
What? Too cold for Miss I Wear Clothes? I thought they were supposed to keep you warm.
Rarity brushed the damp spot off her coat.
Yes, well, I'm all right. It's just that poor Fluttershy has been out all day helping her little animal friends deal with the snowfall. I was just thinking this was the perfect time to get a nice warm cup of cocoa.
Oh, geez.
Rainbow Dash turned her head towards Fluttershy, rubbing the back of her neck sheepishly.
Did I forget to tell you that winter was coming early the other day?
Fluttershy shook her head.
I forgot.
She shivered again, her legs quaking underneath her body.
Here, let me help.
Rainbow Dash landed next to Fluttershy on the bridge, spreading out a wing and draping it over her friend's back before she gave an involuntary shiver of her own.
Jeez, Fluttershy, you really are cold. What'd you do, jump in a stream or something?
Fluttershy's cheeks reddened.
Well, Mr. Otter said he was hungry.
Rainbow Dash shook her head as she began to guide Fluttershy back into town.
Come on, let's get you warmed up.
Oh, you don't have to.
Fluttershy said, taking a half-hearted step to the side.
Of course I do.
Rainbow Dash replied, leaning into Fluttershy's side as she tucked her wing closer around her.
You're freezing.
Now, ain't that the cutest thing?
Rarity nodded as the two Pegasi set off for town through the snowy streets, Fluttershy hesitantly leaning into Rainbow's side.
It's simply darling. A pity that Fluttershy will never say anything.
Applejack blinked. What?
Nothing.
Rarity coughed into her hoof, glancing around.
Say, Applejack. Yes, Rarity? You know, now I come to think of it, it is dreadfully cold. Why, I'm afraid I'm practically frozen to the spot.
Rarity gave her best impression of a shiver as she scooted closer to her friend. Applejack arched her eyebrows. What? Rarity pouted, stamping her hoof in the snow.
I'm cold. Well, what do you expect me to do about it? Maybe you should put on a scarf or something.